Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Friday, June the 11th. We once again have a two-game slate for Friday. As always, guys, we're going to go game by game, just do a quick overview of this two-game slate, take a first look and just give you my thoughts, what does stand out to me, looking at each team, breaking down each team, and, just give my early thoughts on the slate. So before we get started with the breakdown, as always, guys, I would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below. If you are new to the channel, be sure to click that subscribe button as well, and also hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Now, I wasn't able to stream on Thursday, but I should definitely be back with a stream on Friday. We'll probably go live around normal time, 5:30 Eastern. So if you guys do want to tune into the stream Friday, I should be live around that time. We can break down the slate, talk through everything. We can hit on PrizePicks as well. For those of you that don't know, maybe if you've missed my last two videos, I am now sponsored by PrizePicks. We're going to be working with PrizePicks moving forward. If you don't know what PrizePicks is, it's basically, a new way to play DFS. They do over-under props. You can do fantasy points, take the over-under. They give a projection for each player, and you basically, pick whether you think that player is going to go over or under their projected fantasy score. They have pretty much, they don't have every player, but they have, basically every playable guy, every guy that's going to, get meaningful minutes. They have him, or they have them on the player pool. So you can kind of take a look at this. If you do want to try out PrizePicks, as I said, guys, and if you see at the bottom of the screen, I do have a promo code. If you do use code NOAH when you sign up, that will give you a 100% match on your deposit up to $100. PrizePicks is basically giving away free money right now. If you deposit $100, they will give you an extra $100 to play with that you can use to win money on the site and to withdraw. And it's definitely a cool new site. I'm excited to be working with PrizePicks moving forward. As we go through the video, we'll talk about some of the PrizePicks, some of the guys I do like over there. So yeah, definitely give PrizePicks a look if you haven't checked it out yet. Link in the description, or just be sure to use code NOAH when you do sign up, so that way you do get that deposit bonus, you get that extra free money. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at Friday's two-game slate. We'll start off with the Sixers and Hawks game. So on the Sixers side today, looking at Philly here, you have Joel Embiid at the top for 10,300. Embiid's a guy that I've been playing recently. I didn't play him in game one of this series, or I think I did play him in game one of this series. I can't remember. I think it was the Washington game. I didn't play him then. But the last two games against Atlanta, he's been really good. 38, 35 minutes. He's been questionable both of these days, and he's played both games. Embiid's questionable again. I'm assuming he plays. He's been productive in those games. 62, 66 DraftKings points on a two-game slate. I think Embiid is clearly a top play today. He's a guy that I definitely want to try and pay up for. There are some guys for cheap that I do like on Atlanta that we'll talk about. Atlanta is a team I think that gives us some value today. So Joel Embiid is going to be someone I do try and pay up for on this slate. Right now, he's my favorite stud. I think I do slightly prefer him over Jokic. 10-3 for Embiid on DraftKings. Then on Yahoo, you got him coming in at $47. He is a little bit cheaper than Jokic. I don't really have a lean on what the ownership's going to look like between the two. I think Embiid might be a little bit lower owned than Jokic. I'm not really sure, but regardless, Embiid's one of my favorite spin-ups here. I mean, it's hard not to like him right now. He's playing massive minutes. He's obviously an incredibly productive player when he's on the floor. He's got a ton of upside, 60-plus DK points in both games so far against Atlanta. I don't see any reason why he can't go for 60-plus again here. So love Embiid on this slate. Then you have Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons. Not as interested in them, but I think they're still playable. Obviously, with Embiid now fully healthy and playing his normal minutes, I mean, that's going to take away from Harris and Simmons. We haven't seen massive games from them so far in the series. Through two games, Harris has put up 43 and 38 DraftKings points. Simmons was really good in game one. He had 46 DK points, but then he really struggled last game, did not have that good of a game, only 23 DK points in 35 minutes. We're still going to get big minutes from both Harris and Simmons. They're going to play 36 to 38 minutes. Because Simmons was so bad last game, I think that might keep his ownership down a little bit, which does make me kind of have some interest in him at 7,700. If you look at his PrizePicks today, his projected fantasy score on PrizePicks is 40 fantasy points. I'd be fine probably taking the over there. I think that's a pretty good projection for Simmons, but I do like his over a little bit on PrizePicks if you want to go that route. I think he can definitely get over 40 fantasy points. He's a fantasy point per minute player. He's going to play 36 to 38 minutes. One thing I do like on PrizePicks is that they use FanDuel scoring, Yahoo scoring. Pretty much the only difference, or the main difference, I think, is that blocks and steals are worth 3 points. And Ben Simmons is a guy that can get a lot of blocks and a lot of steals. He can get those defensive stats. So I definitely like the over on Simmons fantasy points if you do want to take that early. But then the rest of these Sixers guys, Seth Curry you have at 5,300. Do have some interest in Seth Curry once again. I've kind of been playing him lately, and it's been going well. He's had 3 straight good games. So far in this series, he's had 2 good games, 33 DK points, 26 DK points. He's played pretty good minutes, 36 minutes, 29 minutes. I think most nights we're going to get at least like 30 minutes from Seth Curry, maybe more depending on how well he's playing. This is a guy that can score the ball. He's a really good scorer. He's a very efficient shooter. I know the price is starting to get up there a little bit at 5,300, but I still think Curry has enough upside to pay off this price tag. He can give us 30 plus DK points and still be a good play at 5,300. So I actually do like Seth Curry a good amount on DK, and on Yahoo, I think he also looks pretty good over there. $15 at shooting guard. I think he's clearly one of the better shooting guard plays on Yahoo when you do just factor in salary. I feel like he's definitely a little bit too cheap there. He's kind of been too cheap on Yahoo for a while now. Then you have Danny Green, who I'm not as confident in, but Danny Green's going to play 25 to 30 minutes. You never know what you're going to get from Danny Green. He's going to have to knock down some threes. He's going to have to luck his way into a couple blocks and a couple steals. But for 4,500, getting a guy at this price point that's going to play around 30 minutes on a 2-game slate, Danny Green's fine, but I don't feel great about him. And the rest of these Sixers, I don't think I'm going to. On PrizePicks, there's some of these guys you could maybe take a shot on. Like if you wanted to maybe bet the over on Shake Milton, 10 fantasy points. Shake Milton played really well last game. Maybe he sees increased minutes here given how well he played last game. His projected fantasy score is only 10 fantasy points. So, if Shake Milton plays 15 minutes today, he could easily go over 10 fantasy points. You can maybe go with the over there. But I'm probably just going to be avoiding a lot of these bench guys from the Sixers. In DFS for sure. And then on PrizePicks, I don't think I'm really going to touch him either. So, yeah, I think we can go ahead and talk about the Atlanta side. This is where I do have some interest, and especially talking about the cheap guys. There's some value I like on Atlanta that we'll hit on. But at the top, you have Trae Young for 9,300. Trae Young, I think's a solid pay-up option. I don't think he stands out head and shoulders above some other guys, though. Again, I like Embiid a lot. I like Jokic as well, who we're going to talk about. You have Chris Paul, who I think is, once again, a really good mid-range option. He's underpriced. Trae Young's going to fall behind a couple of guys for me. This is a tough matchup against Philly. Philly's a really good defensive team. They have some really good defenders. Ben Simmons is an elite defender. I'm sure Trae Young's going to see some Ben Simmons on him throughout this game. I don't think I'm going to go to Trae Young on this slate. He had a really good game 1, but kind of came back down to earth last game. For 9,300, he feels priced about right. I think he's more of a tournament play at low ownership than like a cash game play or a guy that I'd be playing in my one lineup. I do want to talk about him on PrizePicks, though. I think his projection on PrizePicks feels a little bit too high. He's projected for 48 fantasy points. In game 1 of this series, if we look at the scoring on PrizePicks, I believe he had I know game 1 he had just over that. He had 50-something. Yeah, he had 54 fantasy points in game 1. But then in game 2, last game, only 41 fantasy points. On the season, Trae Young's only been averaging 40 fantasy points a game. Not saying that really means much here. Obviously, it's the playoffs now. But, when you talk about PrizePicks and how their scoring works, you don't get points. You don't get half a point for made 3-pointers like you do on Draftkings. You don't get the double-double bonus either. You get, you -1 for turnovers, and we know Trae Young will turn the ball over a lot. I think 48 fantasy points projection for Trae Young might honestly be a little bit too high. I kind of like the under there on Trae Young. That's something that does stand out to me. He's a kind of a guy I'm going to be taking a shot on PrizePicks probably. Definitely get on that under. I'm assuming, that people are going to be betting the under at 48. I feel like that's a little bit too high. So maybe, his fantasy projection is going to lower as the day goes on. You might want to try and get on it now while it's still 48. So I like that over on PrizePicks. On DFS-wise, I think Trae Young's just, a low-owned tournament play. Probably nothing more than that. Clint Capella for 7,300. Not been great in this series. He's been dealing with some foul trouble against Embiid, which is kind of expected. Embiid's a guy that draws a ton of fouls, and Capella, so far through 2 games, has picked up 5 fouls in both games. He's only played 32 in 28 minutes. I would expect if Capella's not in foul trouble that he does play 35, 36 minutes, but can we expect that to happen? I don't really know. Capella is a guy that will foul a lot, and Embiid's someone that, again, can draw a lot of fouls. So, with the price coming down, I think Capella's an okay tournament option, but I don't feel great about him. It's a tough matchup, just not a spot where you would really expect Capella to have much success. Bogdanovic, again, I just haven't been playing him lately. He just feels priced appropriately. I know his price came down a little bit, but I still don't think I'm going to go to Bogdan. We just haven't seen much upside from him. He's only put up 40 fantasy points twice out of his last 10 games. He probably gets you 30 to 35 DK points, which is solid, but, not a guy that you're really going to have to get to. The value, though, I think this is where we can look to on Atlanta. There's some cheap guys I like here. First off, Danilo Gallinari, 4,800. He's going to be someone I look to for value today on both sides. He's super cheap on Yahoo, only $13. I do like him a good amount over there as well. So Gallo in the first game of the series did not play that well, only played 18 minutes, kind of struggled, only had 11 DK points, but he bounced back in a big way last game, played 26 minutes, shot the ball pretty well, had 37 DK points. I think without DeAndre Hunter, that is definitely going to give more minutes to guys like Gallo. It's going to give more minutes to Kevin Huerter, and we've kind of seen that, we saw that last game. Solomon Hill, he's been starting in place of DeAndre Hunter. Hunter's already been ruled out for the rest of the season, so maybe Solomon Hill starts again, but last game I think Solomon Hill only played like 10 minutes or something. Yeah, Solomon Hill played 8 minutes last game. They might change up the starting lineup today. They might start Gallo. They might start Kevin Huerter. I don't really know, but I think regardless, with DeAndre Hunter done for the season, that does give more minutes to guys like Gallo, to more minutes to guys like Kevin Huerter. These are two guys I'm going to be looking to for value. They're super cheap, 4,800, 4,700. They're both somewhat productive when they're on the floor. Gallo's been close to a fantasy point per minute player this season. I like him a lot on DK. I like him a lot on Yahoo. And I think on PrizePicks, he looks like he's probably one of my favorite picks on PrizePicks right now. His projection's only 19.5. I feel like Gallo can easily go over 19.5. I expect him to play probably 22 to 24 minutes. He might play more depending on how well he's playing. They might start him today over Solomon Hill. I don't think it's a guarantee that Solomon Hill starts again. So Gallo over 19.5 on PrizePicks. I like that a lot. That's definitely one of my favorite overs right now and just one of my favorite picks overall. That's one I'm for sure going to be getting on. After I get done recording this video, I'm going to have to go make a pick on that because I expect that 19.5 projection for Gallo to probably rise as the day goes on. And then same thing again could be said for Kevin Huerter, 4,700 on DK. He's also cheap. He's $15 on Yahoo. I do like him a lot over there as well. We've seen so far in the first two games in the series without DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter's been a big beneficiary. He's played 29 and 36 minutes off the bench. Now he has shot the ball pretty well. He's 66% from the field, 80% from the field, 50 and 60% from three. I don't know if we can expect him to shoot that well again, but if he's going to be playing anywhere near 30 minutes, if not over 30 minutes, again, I think it's a possibility that Kevin Huerter starts today instead of Solomon Hill. So for 4,700, with no DeAndre Hunter, I think we get 30-plus minutes from Kevin Huerter, which does make him a really good value play today and a guy that I like a lot on both sides. And also on PrizePicks, I think Kevin Huerter's over looks really good. He's only projected for 22.5. I expect him to play 33, 34 minutes. Easily can get over 22.5 fantasy points when he's playing 30-plus minutes a night right now, which I expect him to play without DeAndre Hunter. So over on Kevin Huerter, like that a lot. I think definitely the over on Gallo, the over on Kevin Huerter, those are two of my favorite picks on PrizePicks right now. You definitely want to get on those, while they're still as low as they are, because I think they're going to rise as the day goes on. But that probably does it for this Atlanta team. I don't really see anything else I like here, so we can go to talk about the next game, talk about the Suns and the Nuggets. So on the Suns side, you got Devin Booker at the top for 8,400. Booker so far in the series has not been great. Only 38, 37 DK points through 2 games. That's going to keep his ownership down. He's still somewhat expensive. He's 8,400. I don't really see Booker being that popular today. So, he kind of feels like a Trae Young type of play to me, to where he's going to be low owned. We know Booker can pop off any night. I don't think he projects as a top option today, but still viable because he will be so low owned. I don't think he's going to be like 10% owned, but I think he'll probably be probably 15 to 20%, which is pretty low for a guy like Devin Booker, on a 2-game slate. So if you want to go to Booker in tournaments for low ownership, I'm fine with it. I don't think he stands out though as like a top option for me. Chris Paul though, I do like a lot. He's one of my favorite plays in the mid range for sure. 7,100 on DK is just too cheap. On Yahoo, he's too cheap as well. He's $28 over there. One of my favorite point guards on Yahoo. We've seen Chris Paul kind of look like his old self these last few games. He's been getting his normal minutes, played 36 minutes in game 1, played 31 minutes in a blowout last game. Obviously, he would have played more had the game been close. And he's been productive, 49 and 50 DraftKings points. He's been racking up assists like he always does. We have a fully healthy Chris Paul right now. Chris Paul is 100% healthy right now. It's pretty obvious. He's playing like his old self. And when Chris Paul is 100% healthy, he should be close to 9K. He's for sure underpriced right now, especially in the playoffs where you see the stars kind of get more usage, demand the ball more. We also see stars normally play more minutes in the playoffs. So if we're going to be getting 36, 38 minutes from Chris Paul, he's way too cheap at 7,100. Definitely one of the best plays on this slate, in my opinion, and clearly too cheap at that price point. Now, his projection on PrizePicks does feel about right. I like Chris Paul a lot today, but his projection on PrizePicks I think is I think it's in the high 30s, or yeah, it's 40. Like 40 feels like a pretty good projection for him. So even though I do like Chris Paul a lot, I don't think I'd be going to the over there. I guess you could, but the 40 projection feels about right. But like on DraftKings, 7,100, $28 on Yahoo. Definitely love Chris Paul, for DFS. But then you have DeAndre Ayton at 6,800. Ayton again, he's not been great in this series either. Him and Booker have both, been kind of mediocre so far through 2 games. Ayton's put up 35 and 27 DK points. He's pretty much been matching Jokic's minutes. Like anytime Jokic is on the floor, Ayton's going to be out there. So, we're going to get like 36, 38 minutes from Ayton as long as Jokic plays, 36, 38 minutes. We know what Ayton's going to do. He's going to score, he's going to rebound, and he's not really going to do much else. Could he go out there and give you 25 and 10 and put up 40 DraftKings points? Like, he could absolutely do that, but I don't think Ayton really stands out as like a top option today. I probably would only be playing him on Yahoo, where you have to play at least one center and you don't have the dual position eligibility on Yahoo like you do on DraftKings. But then you have Jay Crowder at 5,100. Look, Crowder is going to play 30 to 35 minutes. You never know what you're going to get from Jay Crowder. He's a pretty score-independent player. He's going to have to knock down some threes to really get there. He's going to have to fall, some rebounds are going to have to fall his way. But Crowder has shown he can put up 30-plus DK points any night. For 5,100, he's a solid option. I think the same could be said for Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder are basically like the same player. They do the same thing. They shoot threes. They'll have some rebounds fall their way. They get blocks. They get steals. They're probably like better versions of Danny Green in my opinion. So Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, I think are both solid mid-range options. Cameron Payne, I'm going to continue to fade him. I haven't played him I pretty much haven't played him at all in the postseason. And now that Chris Paul's playing his full minutes now, I have no interest in Cameron Payne. We've seen his minutes really trend down lately. 15 minutes last game. I know he's in foul trouble, but I think we're only going to get like 15, 20 minutes from Cameron Payne, which doesn't make him appealing at all. So that probably does it for the Suns. I don't think I'm going to go to like any of the bench guys from Phoenix. So we can go ahead and talk about Denver real quick before we do end the video. So looking on the Denver side, you have Jokic at the top for 10,700. I think Jokic clearly a top stud option today. He's right up there with Embiid. Him and Embiid are clearly the 2 best studs on the slate in my opinion. The only thing that sucks is that they're both center. Could you play Jokic and Embiid together? You absolutely could. You can do it on DraftKings, but it's going to be tough to spend, for 2 of your center spots. I don't think I'm going to be able to play Jokic if I play Embiid, which is going to make it tough. But obviously, Jokic is a really good pay-up option here. He was really good last game, even though he didn't play a ton in the fourth quarter. I don't think he played it all in the fourth quarter. Even in 3 quarters, he had 52 DK points. He was on pace to do really, really well. He was on pace to easily go for 60+, but the game blew out. He didn't play in the fourth quarter. I think with Denver going back home, it's a lot more likely today's game stays close. Phoenix has kind of run away with these first 2 games, but I would expect we get a close game today. I would expect Jokic to play his full minutes. We know Jokic has massive upside. He's right up there with Embiid, 2 of the best studs on the slate, clearly. But then you have Michael Porter Jr. at 6,900. MPJ's, he's kind of risky. Like, I don't know exactly how healthy he is. There was pictures that went out like that he was, or during warm-ups last game, he had like a pad on his bag. He came out shooting, or he shot the ball terribly out of the gate. Like for the game, he shot 3 for 13 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3. He just didn't look fully healthy. He's risky. Like, we don't know exactly how many minutes Porter's going to play. We don't really know how that back is feeling. Clearly, I think it was kind of bothering him last game. So probably going to avoid Michael Porter on this slate. He should be low owned, but I don't think I'm going to go there. Now, Will Barton, I would have some interest in, but I just have no idea how many minutes he plays. He made his debut last game since he's been out for like a month and a half. Finally made his return, played 16 minutes. They said they were going to limit him to like, I think 12 to 18 minutes is the report that I saw. So given that he was limited to 15 minutes last game, I don't think he probably plays like 20 minutes today. So, at 5,500, you can't really roster Will Barton unless we actually know he's going to play like 30 minutes, which I just don't think is going to happen. So don't think I'm going to go to Will Barton unless his minutes restriction, just gets lifted, or or we can confirm that he's going to play like 30 minutes. Aaron Gordon, he's going to play 25 to 30 minutes. You never know what you're going to get from Aaron Gordon. He started to look really good for a stretch of games, and then last game he was just terrible. Had 6 fantasy points in 20 minutes. So for 5,400, Aaron Gordon's fine, but I don't feel great about him. Campazzo I did like a lot last slate. That kind of came back to bite me. He played 29 minutes in the blowout, only had 13 DK points. I'm fine going back to Campazzo, though. He was on pace to play pretty big minutes last game. He would have played probably 36 to 38 minutes had it been a close game. 5,200, his price has come down a lot. I definitely like Campazzo at this price tag. Even though he busted last game, I'm fine going back to him. Monte Morris, kind of concerning. He didn't play much last game, only 22 minutes. His minutes have kind of come down a little bit these last few games, 23 minutes, 22 minutes. With Will Barton back now, I just don't know exactly how many minutes we're going to get from Monte Morris, so he's a little bit risky at 5K. I think I would just rather play Campazzo, who we know is going to get 30-plus minutes. And then Austin Rivers will be the last guy we talk about, 3,900. He's going to start, probably play 30 minutes, maybe more, depending on if he's playing well or not. He's scoring dependent. He's going to have to knock down some threes to get there, but he's cheap, 3,900. He's going to get it, 30-plus minutes. It's hard to find guys this cheap that are going to play as many minutes as Austin Rivers will. So that alone, I think, makes Austin Rivers an okay value, but obviously, don't feel great about him. Rivers could still go out there and put up 15 DK points in 35 minutes. He's done it before. But he's cheap and he's going to play the minutes, which makes him viable, I guess. But that's probably it for Denver. I don't think I'm going to any of the bench guys like JaMychal Green, Paul Millsap. I just don't think I'm going to play. So that does it for the Denver side. That does it for both of the two games on this Friday night slate. So as always, guys, appreciate you watching the video. I hope you did enjoy. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button before you do get out of here. Also, click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Again, guys, I should be live this afternoon, probably around 5 or 5:30 Eastern. I should be live on my YouTube channel. So if you guys do want to come and hang out, I'll be live talking through the slate with you guys, answering all your questions as always in the live stream. And real quickly, before we end the video, be sure to check out the sponsored PrizePicks if you have not yet. Link down below in the description, or just use code NOAH when you sign up. Some of my early favorite PrizePicks we kind of mentioned. I like the over on 19.5 fantasy points for Gallo. I like the over on Kevin Huerter's fantasy point projection. I think the under on Trae Young, his projection right now feels a little bit too high. I like under 48. The 40 fantasy point projection for Ben Simmons feels about right, but I still do like the over there. I would expect a bounce back game from Simmons today. I think his over on PrizePicks looks good. So those are just some of the fantasy props that I like, but you can also take a look at their single stat. This is something they have. You can bet the over or under on guys' point projection. So if you want to go through these and kind of look for yourself, you can kind of take a look. They have assist props, they have rebound, 3-point made. I think the 3-point made is probably one of my favorite ones to bet on, just because it's kind of a fun sweat. You basically just need these guys to make threes. Sometimes you can win these pretty early. Like if a guy just gets hot, like we saw Devin Booker last game. I think he made like three pointers in the first quarter. So if you bet his over, you won that one pretty quickly. So yeah, you can take a look at all these. Try out PrizePicks for yourself, kind of see what they do have to offer. It's definitely a fun new format. And like I said, me and PrizePicks, we're going to be working a lot moving forward. They're going to be featured a lot on the channel. So you guys are going to want to get signed up there because I'm going to be making some PrizePicks content. And we're going to be talking about them a lot. Going to be giving out some free plays on PrizePicks. So be sure to sign up. Use the code NOAH when you do and get that 100% match on your deposit up to $100. PrizePicks giving away free money right now. You definitely want to go sign up. Just take advantage of the promos that they're offering. But that's it for today's slate, guys. Appreciate you watching as always. I hope you did enjoy the video. Best of luck on this Friday night slate, and we will see you in the next one. Good luck, guys. Peace.